Meantime, it appears the president may not be exiting the big stage on January 20th. Mr. Obama using his last weekly address of 2016 to signal that he won't be going quietly into the night when he vacates the White House, as he spoke on the need to stand up for America's ideals after he leaves office.
It has been the privilege of my life to serve as your president. And as I prepare to take on the even more important role of citizen, know that I will be there with you every step of the way to ensure that this country forever strives to live up to the incredible promise of our founding, that all of us are created equal and all of us deserve every chance to live out our dreams.
Well, okay, Anthony, clearly the President Obama plans on sticking around. I mean, that's very much what this seems like. There's already reports that he's huddling with Senate Democrats on Obamacare. Is this about his legacy more than anything?
Well, I think it's also he still sees himself as one of the leaders, if not the leader of the Democratic Party. And so he's going to want to help them in 2018 as well. And I think all of that makes sense. What doesn't make sense is the notion that he's going to bring himself back into the presidential critiquing process, which his predecessor, George W. Bush, I think was a real gentleman to him. He stepped out of the process, allowed him to run the office of the presidency, and said to many people, it's a tough enough job without your predecessor in there critiquing. So I really hope he stays to that and honors that tradition. I think it's sort of sacrosanct for the presidency. And if he's worried about his legacy, which apparently he might be, that would be a better way of going about things as it relates to presidential legacy.
But Kennedy, so President Obama, the Democratic Party has seen historic losses under him, but he said that he wants to be involved in the recruiting of future generations of candidates. Is that a good thing?
No, he's got a horrible track record. He really does. And, there's been something so wonderful about George W. Bush really retreating into his own to have
painting.
Yeah, he's painting, he's doing, he's believing.
And he's
quietly.
been very respectful of President Obama.
And that's the way it should be. Yeah. I think that we have enough people like Chuck Schumer and like Elizabeth Warren and Bernie Sanders holding this president accountable from the Senate floor. You don't need someone else from the sidelines. And I understand why Bill Clinton went out and crafted this foundation. It was really laying the foundation for his wife to run for president. And I really think that President Obama needs to take at least a couple years to look inward, write some books.
He's not. He's looking backwards, and he's bragging about his track record, particularly on the economy, Anthony Scaramucci. I mean, almost in that same breath, he said 8 years later, we have a completely different story. We've turned recession into recovery. Our businesses have created 15.6 million new jobs, and we put more people back to work than all other major advanced economies combined. I mean, he's still looking back and saying...
To be fair, some of that is true, but what isn't true is there's been no wage growth. Slight uptick last quarter, but there's been no wage growth for 10 years. In fact, disposable income is down 9% for middle class and working class families. 8 million people have dropped below the poverty line during his administration. He has no quarter. He'll be the first president in modern history where he has no quarter where he got to 3% GDP growth in any of the quarters. There was no print at that level. So it's a mixed record. And I understand that he would say, well, we came out of a bad recession and a global financial crisis.
Which we did.
But the regulations, the Dodd-Frank issue, the lack of public offerings as a result of the tightening of the regulations, all of those things have slowed down growth and made it harder for middle-class families and working families to get ahead. And we're talking about $15 an hour for wages. We should really be trying to get to $50 an hour, not 15. And you can do that through the free market, not through governmental mandates.
Pat, what's your take on all this?
Well, I mean, President Obama, he can stick around, he can talk, he can try to influence things as much as he wants, but he has no official point of power. And there are a lot of people that are excited to hear this. He's really popular with a lot of people. A lot of people really love the Obamas. So they'll be still listening, but how much is it going to impact the way things are actually run? I'd say not at all. So if it makes people feel better, that's great. If he thinks it's a good time, that's great. But the reason that Trump was elected is because a lot of people, they're over that. And I think the people who are going to be listening to Obama are going to be the same people who will be listening anyways, and the same ones who are in denial about the future.
Well, first it was the ditch and dine. Now President-elect Trump bailing on his press corps again, this time to play golf. His team saying it won't happen again, but it's raising new questions about what his relationship with the press will look like when he's president.